Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, September 23rd. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Michigan State game in 5 days, the game against Michigan in 68 days. Before we move on to that Michigan State game, we're going to be talking just a little bit more about the win over Marshall. Buckeyes picked up a 49-14 win over the Thundering Herd on Saturday afternoon in a sweltering Ohio Stadium. Moved to 3-0 on the season. Now the focus is going to be shifting to the Big Ten season with the road trip to Michigan State this Saturday. So let's get a little bit of an update on one of the stories that I think was a big story on Saturday morning, and that was the fact that Tyleik Williams did not play against the Thundering Herd. So Ryan Day gave a quick update on his status, said Tyleik was day-to-day, so we will see whether that translates to playing against Michigan State this Saturday, or whether we have to wait another week to see him. We'll see that. Find out that probably a little later on in the week. Quick note, before we move on with the show, this is going to be a lot of clips of Ryan Day. The audio might sound a little funky. I don't know what it was. Something about the audio feed on Saturday. Ryan Day sounds like maybe he's gone from a baritone to a bass. So if you're thinking like this sounds a little weird, I don't know. Sometimes you get a little weird audio, so it might sound a little different. But I promise it is Ryan Day. So there were a lot of folks upset and a little bewildered during the game on Saturday about the Ohio State special teams, and especially the fact that kicker Jaden Fielding put 3 straight kickoffs out of bounds. As one of those things, I have watched an awful lot of college football. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. So what was the deal there? What was Ryan Day told about what happened there?
I didn't really get into it, and so we put Austin in there, and I thought he did a nice job. So we'll evaluate him and see if there's any, tweak or something that happened, in the hip or whatever. But, but either way, we can't have that. I mean, that's putting our defense in a terrible situation. Having 3 out of bounds and 3 drives to start on the 35-yard line, that's completely ridiculous. So we got to get that fixed, however we do that. And, you get to the point where you want to let somebody play through it, but then it's at, another point, we got to make a change. So I thought Austin did a nice job of stepping in there and then doing a good job on kicking the ball off.
I always kind of give you a synopsis of what the question was before we start the next question. And sometimes you can maybe figure out who asked the question. This was very obviously a Tim May question because there were sort of 3 questions melded into one. That's a great Tim May classic. So this is here's the 3 questions you're going to get answers to all in one here. Number 1, evaluating the play of the defense against Marshall's air raid offense throughout the course of the day. Number 2, Ryan Day's unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that he picked up and what the story was there. And number 3, the ejection of Caden Curry for targeting. So here you go. Ryan Day answering Tim May's 3 quickies.
The defense, I felt like Marshall did a nice job with their style of play, which is +1, spreading you out with the quarterback run. As we know, there's pluses and minuses of that. The plus, you can be +1. The negative is you take a lot of shots on your quarterback. So they did a good job with that. I thought we continue to stick with it. There's still a lot of things we're going to watch on this film that we're not going to be pleased with, just with overall execution. I know Jim's going to be that way. So the things we did well, we'll continue to enhance. The things that we didn't do well, we got to grow from. Like you said, we kept playing on it. Did do some good things, and we're not going to take any win for granted, as you see across the country. We all take these wins for granted, but there's a lot of work that gets put into them, and guys played hard out there today. They did. Again, the effort is there. The guys are playing hard, and so we got to keep building on that. In terms of the penalties, the Caden thing, I got to look a little bit closer at. I saw it. When you see things in slow motion, sometimes it looks a little different than when it's live. So. But my situation was, there was 21 seconds on the clock when we subbed in. They, my opinion, were really, 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 really slow getting in. And so at some point when you make a sub, around 21 seconds, you still should be able to run a play. And so we had to call timeout. I went out to the numbers. I didn't curse, but I was, raising my voice saying that there was 21 seconds on the clock. And at some point that has to be a delay of game on the defense. I guess I yelled too loud. I'm not sure why, but that's what happened.
There was a lot about that game on Saturday. It was just a little off, a little wonky in some ways. One of the things was just a really weird first quarter where a couple of extended Marshall drives coupled with a very big play, just 2 plays into Ohio State's first drive, meant that they had just 1 rush for 2 yards in the first quarter. But boy, did they run wild after that. So what was the key to Ohio State really cutting loose in the run game?
How many plays do we have in the first quarter? I don't remember. Is that all it was? That's probably more. Yeah. I think what you're seeing is an identity that's slowly getting molded here where, we're explosive on the perimeter. I keep saying I don't think it was perfect, but I see our receivers blocking on the perimeter with some of these screen plays. You saw the first one to Emeka where, guys are blocking and then that thing split. You see the athleticism of some of our linemen, Josh Fryer out in space. Seth McLaughlin did a great job on that play. And then Emeka's got the home run ability. So that spreads you out this way. We took a shot early. We got to clean that up a little bit. There's some things that we can do better there, and coach it better. But we're trying to stretch the field vertically. Once you do that and you can start running the ball with the way that our running backs are running and the way the O-line's now, really growing. And I think Donovan being back in there helped a lot. And I thought the running backs ran hard. And, when you have the ability for Will to pull it, that just changes the numbers. You think back when we had Justin Fields and we had JT Barrett, it was just a different run game. And so I think you're starting to see that come back a little bit. I thought Chip again called a good game, good balance across the board. So, again, bigger challenges ahead. We're heading into conference play, but the identity is starting to build, and that running game is starting to build an identity and some confidence, I think, up front, which was needed.
Before the season, I think Ohio State fans were maybe dreaming a little bit about what the two-headed monster of Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins could look like. Oh boy, that dream came to a reality on the field at Ohio State on Saturday. Both of those guys averaged over 12 yards per carry. There are not that many hard and fast rules in college football, but boy, if your two running backs both average over 12 yards per carry, you're probably going to have a pretty good day on the offensive side of the ball. So what does Ryan Day think about that running back room? Because, boy, they look like they could be pretty special this year.
I thought Travion ran hard, and I thought Quinshon, and even James. James had some good. All three of them, I got to give them credit. They all have special abilities. They play well off each other. They're unselfish, which is like the biggest thing you can say about a bunch of guys. Like, they don't care who gets the credit. They're all running downhill and playing really fast. So a good group, and I think Locke's got them playing hard.
Next up, this is another kind of two-parter here. Little bit smushed together, two different questions. One is to assess the play of Will Howard, how he's doing so far this season, and just Ryan Day's feeling overall on the team right now as they head into Big Ten play without having really faced a real stern test in the non-conference schedule.
Again, you don't know until you get out in the field, but we go against good players every day in practice, so it's not like we don't know what we look like against good players. So we'll just go on what we see and grow from it from there. But I thought Will did some really good things. I mean, the touchdown play to Jeremiah, that was a hot situation where we did not have the nickel picked up on that play, and that was a side adjustment where he had to see that. And so the execution on that was very, very high. I thought the long pass to Carnell was really well done. He saw the adjustment that was made there and found the next read. So that was well done. There's a couple really good plays in there by Will. So I think he's growing. I think he's getting more comfortable in the offense. So we'll watch the film and grade and see if he graded out a champion.
When the Buckeyes added Quinshon Judkins in the transfer portal from Ole Miss over the offseason, a lot of people nationally looked at it as just one of those the rich get richer kind of situations. Buckeyes already had a former five-star running back, Travion Henderson, who has made quite a name for himself on the ground for the Buckeyes over the last few years. He came back, and then the Buckeyes added another really top-level running back in the portal in Judkins. So what has stood out to Ryan Day about the play of Quinshon Judkins since he's arrived in Columbus and since he's been playing games this fall?
I just appreciate how hard he plays, his pad level when he runs. He's got home run ability, but you can see he gets behind his pads and runs physical. He's got a great attitude. He's got a great attitude. You can coach Quinshon hard, and he looks you in the eye, and he almost appreciates the fact when you coach him hard that you're trying to get him better. And that's a great sign for somebody who, hasn't been in the program for multiple years. It says a lot about who he is as a person, and he's running hard. I think he enjoys being part of this program, and he's been nothing but a great teammate so far.
The Buckeyes worked a pretty deep rotation at a bunch of different positions over the course of the game, especially on the defensive line. But one spot where they were rotating guys where you don't necessarily think about swapping guys in and out was at right guard. You saw a rotation of Tager Shabola and Austin Siereveld at right guard throughout the course of the game. Obviously, Siereveld had been starting the first couple of games when Donovan Jackson was out, with Jackson being back in. Felt like Siereveld maybe deserved a spot to play. So is that something that Ryan Day would like to continue doing, or was that just kind of a one-off thing because it was a Marshall game?
I like seeing them both play. Yeah, I think they both deserve to play. I think you guys saw them both play well in the first couple games. We'll see how they grade it out, and we'll keep evaluating it. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have a young guy get a little bit of a break during a game. And if we feel like it gets to the point where they're not getting into the flow of the game, then we'll keep a close eye on it. But I like getting those guys in the game and getting them reps.
It's funny to look back on now after the Buckeyes had two running backs with over 12 yards a carry and were ripping off long touchdown runs all day. But just a couple weeks ago, there was some real concern about the Ohio State offensive line and how they were going to hold up in the run game, and they weren't able to run the ball very effectively. So what the heck has changed over just the last couple weeks where that run blocking has improved so much, so quickly?
Seth has done a great job of getting everybody on the same page. He's like having an NFL center in there. He is. When you go into a meeting and you say something, he's got the answer, or he's going to get it fixed in game. He's talking to those guys. It's just a calming presence, I think. Then when you add Donovan in there, it strengthened it even more, I feel like, this week. Now, not everything's perfect, and we are going to see a lot different competition moving forward. It's just once we get into conference play and down the road. So we're not making any kind of judgments right now, but you go off what you see, and you're seeing improvement there, and that's a good sign. I do think the running backs have a big part of it. You watch the film. Are they running hard? The answer is yes. And then again, Will making good decisions, either having the ability to pull it when appropriate, or making the decision to throw the ball out on the perimeter with the receivers blocking is critical. If your receivers don't block when you have some of those things, those plays don't work. So those are extensions of the run game, even though maybe they don't always show.
And now here's a quick one from the other side of the stadium. Went over, got a chance to talk to Charles Huff, Marshall head coach, after the game. These videos always do really well on our YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of interest in the other coaches' perspective, especially the other coaches' perspective on the Buckeyes themselves. And Charles Huff was not real conservative about what he said about the Buckeyes, even before the game. Said Ohio State, maybe one of the best teams ever he has seen. So he was asked, okay, well, you said that before. Now you've seen them up close. You've seen them in person. So did they live up to that standard?
Offensively, absolutely. And then defensively, they smother you. They kind of just lean on you and kind of weigh you down a little bit. And that's what kind of happened to us. Let me say that. I can't speak for whoever else they're going to play. But defensively, they kind of just laid on us long enough to wear us down offensively. Offensively, I don't know. I mean, 2019 LSU, 2021 Alabama, they're probably in that realm. I mean, they're really good. They're really good. We didn't make it hard on them today by missing tackles. That doesn't help, but they're really good. Hats off to them. Coach Day's done a phenomenal job building this program. He was able to retain a lot of players that had opportunities to go other places. Some guys came into the program. If they can stay healthy, I don't even know if they need to stay healthy. They probably just put the fifth guy in, but it was good. It was good. They're good. A lot of respect for them. And don't get me wrong, we didn't make it easy on them. By some of the things we tripped ourselves up with, but they're good. They're good.
Charles Huff had a bunch of other interesting things to say after that game, so you can find that whole press conference on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. You can find a lot of other great stuff there as well. Lots of podcasts. Our whole post-game show. We do pregame shows every week before the games. Going to have a lot of stuff there this week as the Buckeyes head on the road to Michigan State. We will be up in East Lansing starting Friday. Have lots of content for you. Live shows, recorded shows, interviews, pregame show, postgame show, all that great stuff, all at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. So if you have not subscribed yet, what on earth are you waiting for? Just hit that bell, hit that subscribe button, make sure you get notified every time we drop a live show, because sometimes, especially when we're on the road, we'll just kind of decide, yeah, sure, we'll do a live show. That way you make sure you don't miss that, because there's going to be a lot of great content coming for you this week. There's also going to be a lot of great content coming for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That's where Tony, Kevin, and I cover the team. Mark covers recruiting. Got our whole team of X's and News gurus there, making you a smarter football fan, plus the Huddle Board presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus. Really fun, active community. Lots of chat about the Buckeyes, chat about Michigan, chat about the college football world on the whole, chat about random off-topic stuff as well. When the Buckeyes are playing in the NFL, lots of chat about that. Lots of stuff there. And if you have always wondered, is it worth being a member there? What is it like to have a membership at one of those private sites where what's behind the paywall? What do you guys actually talk about back there? What do you share? What are you able to share there that you can't share out in the public? Well, this is the time to find out. We're running a flash sale right now, just $4.99 for your first month. Get access to our whole team of insiders and great content, that huddle board presented by Jeff Rubis Columbus, all that stuff at BuckeyeHuddle.com. So you just go to BuckeyeHuddle.com, click on subscribe today at the top of the page, and you are on your way to great insider content. Get that first month for $4.99. See if you want to hang out after that. We think you probably will. But boy, that first month is going to include lots of interesting content. The Michigan State game, the Iowa game, the Oregon game, and then the week after the Oregon game, where the Ohio State fan base is either going to be very happy and very excited or very concerned. Wherever it is, you can join us for that month at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Again, just go to the front page, click on subscribe today, and you can sign up, get access to our full team of insiders and all that great content for just $4.99 for your first month. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.